Come in.
Hello, Alex. How are you doing today?
Hey, Kyle. It's good to see you again.
Great. Great to see you as well. Mind if I sit down here?
Please.
Great. Thank you. So, how are you doing today?
Not too bad. Business is humming along.
Great. Great. Well, I would like to start off the meeting by asking you if you'd like to include anybody else. I know last time we talked about including a decision maker here. Is Miss Wilson available? Or?
No, we're good all by ourselves.
Okay, great. Well, basically what I'd like to start off by is summarizing our last meeting, telling you exactly what I've come up with for possible solutions that are customized to your business, and then we can move from there on prices and whatnot. So,
Terrific.
Is that all right with you?
That's terrific.
Great. Well, basically, from our last meeting, we spoke about the time that it takes to not only collect, but calculate and call in those payroll hours. That was more on Patty's end. But also the errors on the employee time cards that has an effect on the checks that they receive, their morale we talked about, that you want to make sure that they are very, very customer-oriented when they're doing their job in the face of the customer, obviously, which helps you grow. Then we talked about HR and pre-employment services, as well as tax and compliance. Now, has anything changed from our last meeting that you'd like to tell me about today so I have a better understanding?
Yeah, I think just, continued aggravation with some things going on in terms of keeping up with, some of the stuff you're talking about, getting the information appropriately to my accountants to keep me from getting billed a little bit extra from them.
Okay.
That's something I'm always concerned about, when Patty makes these mistakes that you're talking about, that causes double work for my accountants, which causes them to double bill me. And certainly I don't like that.
Right. Double billing is no good. Now, is that the only thing that has changed from the past meeting that you'd like to talk about?
Otherwise, we're in pretty much the same position.
Okay, great. Now, when you tell me about your accountants and those double billings, can you tell me about a time that recently happened or anything that sticks out in your mind?
Sure. Well, there's that new hire tax credit going on right now where if you hire people, within a certain, you can get the paperwork in within a certain time frame, the government decided to give you a tax credit for that against some of the taxes you have to pay as a payroll tax. Exactly. Patty has missed some deadlines as far as that goes and cost ourselves a credit, so that's just another kind of more recent piece of that.
Okay, so that could contribute to another profit leakage. And I know from what we last were talking about, you might be looking to expand in the future. Now, can you tell me a little bit about how Patty missing those deadlines and you not increasing your cash flow, how that's going to affect your future aspirations of the company?
Well, certainly, it's no secret. Anybody can turn on the news right now and tell you the credit is tight with banks and so on and so forth. So when things like that happen, every dollar kind of counts in terms of what I can present to the banks to go and get increased credit lines, to go and open my next location and so forth.
Exactly. So that's one more reason why ADP has a solution for you. We take care of that, or if we do move forward with our HR pre-employment services, we would take care of that for you. So you would also be getting that benefit of submitting it on time instead of late past the deadline. So is there anything else that you'd like to talk about today before I get into basically presenting the prices and the packages for you?
Well, I guess you're going to talk about it. Right now, again, we talked about this last time, and it kind of ties together. I do want to simplify some things. I can see where I can kind of streamline some things. Right. At the same time, I don't want to get overly complicated. I don't know that I want to start, spending all sorts of dollars on upgrading my technology to accommodate, bringing in a service such as yours.
Okay. And one thing now, so basically what you're trying to tell me there is you'd like to simplify and you'd like to streamline, but you're a little worried about that first step into technology and how that's going to affect your business. Is that correct?
Well, it's not so much the step into technology, it's so much as the cost of the step into technology.
More cost.
Right.
Yeah, and as I explained last time, cost, I have essential prices here for our different bundles, and like I told you, we do offer discounts on that. But also going back to what we talked about before is the return on investment. And by simplifying and streamlining your operations, you're going to receive a lot more of your cash flows coming in, which is going to, it's going to benefit your overall operations. Does that sound all right to you?
Well, it certainly sounds reasonable.
Great, exactly. So if you don't mind, I'd like to start getting into the presentation here.
Sure.
As I talked about earlier, this is the overview of what we're using here. Gives you the complete 360 of your business, from hire to fire with your employees, including the payroll and HR that we talked about recently. So I'll keep that with you. Now another thing that we have here is our pricing models on our different bundles that I put together. I'd like to explain a little bit more in depth on this. Our essential bundle is going to include the basic payroll operations. So this is going to take time from Patty. It's going to streamline there and increase your cash flow by making sure you're not having profit leaks that come with errors and underpaying employees as well as overpaying employees. But we're also going to deal with your tax depositing, filing those reports for you, and then all the pre-employment services that we talked about recently. Now, do you see how an essential service like that, just those benefits that I'm telling you about, could benefit your business?
Well, it certainly seems going right down the path that we're talking about.
Okay, exactly. Now, one step further into that, and this is how I compiled it, is I basically looked at 3 different bundles for you. One is our essential, one is our enhanced, and one is our complete. The next step of the process is going to go into the enhanced bundle. This is going to include all of the payroll options and everything that we talked about, but it's also going to go into a little bit more about the signing checks for you, making sure that's taken care of. Then having a human resource team and help desk available in order to stay with the labor law and compliances. Now, does that sound like something that you'd be interested in?
Everything sounds interesting until you start telling me how much it costs.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. And we're going to get into that.
And then also how that would actually, function. I mean, certainly that sounds in theory good, but again, from a perspective of, simplifying, yet at the same time straddling the line to not overcomplicate.
Exactly.
I'd like to see more about, how exactly that would happen.
And just to tackle that complication right away, I already told you that I'm here for you. I'm your personal rep. We also have representatives supporting myself. You have my cell phone number already, so if any way down the line you have any questions about anything, you have a couple different layers of different people you can talk to help you feel a little more comfortable.
Yeah. Hey, Patty.
Hi.
Hello. Miss Wilson, Kyle Hagemann, sales rep at ADP. How are you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Good.
Alex, really? Don't you remember 5 years ago? The problems we've had with ADP?
I'm just talking.
What are you thinking, Alex? What
I
are you thinking?
was trying to keep an open mind, just talking.
Would you mind sitting down with us and having a conversation? I can tell you a little bit about what the things that ADP has changed to enhance those services that you might be talking about.
Kyle, it was real nice meeting you, but I gotta go do payroll.
Well, actually, we'd like to sit down and talk to you about payroll as well, if you have the time. I just need maybe 10 minutes of your time.
I don't have the time, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thanks, Patty. Told you last time, mean as a snake.
Hey, that's something that I'd like to help you with by relieving some of that stress of the time that she's worried about. But I'd like to get a little bit deeper into the enhanced because that's the function that we were on here. So not only are we going to take care of the essential services, but also go into the check delivery, the human resource team, and the labor law and compliance. So you're also, I know we talked about last time a little bit about the tax fever that comes around, really helping you out with that so you don't have that turning stomach when that comes.
Right.
Now, does that sound like a benefit to you? I know.
Well, and I'll stop right there. And,
Yes.
joke aside about mean as a snake, her point is not necessarily invalid. I mean, we've had you guys here before. You certainly seem like a nice guy, but I also realize you're not going to be the guy I'm dealing with day to day. You're not going to be the guy who's gonna service this payroll if we were to go this route. I mean, what makes me think it's going to be any better now than it was before?
Well, I'm glad you said that because our president and CEO once said that such shortcomings should be viewed as an opportunity to learn, refocus our values, and live up to our efforts. So that's something that I take personal pride in, is that ADP is always innovating. They've done a complete 180 on customer service. So like you said, if you're concerned about not being able to contact me, that I'm going to leave you with services and then you won't be able to get any of our representatives, that is no longer an issue, and I can promise you that.
Okay, so how does that work?
How does that work? Well, basically, what we're going to do is if you do choose to go with services today, we're going to have myself here for your first payroll to ensure everything goes smoothly. Like I said, you already have my contact information, but we're also going to have a dedicated specialist there for your first 2 times of the payroll. This is another step in the process that we'd like to walk you through and ensure that this is a smooth transition for you. And I understand the business, and I understand a time where there's been some previous shortcomings that you want to avoid that. But really, what I'd like to do today is develop or tell you about the different things under the bridge that might keep you from moving on and succeeding as a company. And I want to build that bridge to success so you don't have to worry about those. Does that kind of help alleviate some of those concerns?
Yeah, you can keep going.
Okay, thank you. So then our complete solution is basically combining both the essential and the enhanced, and then doing the general ledger interface as well as the background checks and the employee handbook wizard. So this is going to go a little bit deeper into the HR services that we talked about, a lot of time that you were spending sifting through resumes, interviewing and training employees, and then finding out later that they weren't the best fit for your company. Mm-hmm. Now, does that sound like maybe the overall best solution for your company?
It certainly sounds like a lot of good stuff. Again, you haven't shown me what it costs yet.
Exactly. So. Now I'd like to transition into the pricing. Mm-hmm. So basically, for our setup costs, it's going to be $200. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a one-time fee to set everything up for you. But besides that, we're looking at about a $50 base cost and then $225 per check. And what I'm explaining right now is our complete solution, because I want to give you everything you need to succeed, and I'm going to tell you how to do that. And then we're timesing that by 300 employees. So you're looking at about $725 per week for that. Now, does that sound like a price that you're able to allocate currently, or?
That sounds like a bit much. It sounds like a bit much. And what do you, I mean, you're charging me to set me up?
Well, the setup fee is basically us coming in with a dedicated implementation specialist. They're going to take care of all the setup and ensure that everybody's trained and knowledgeable on our services, so that you don't have those future problems of someone not being equipped with the right knowledge there. Mm-hmm. So that's the initial setup.
This is for the complete, right?
This is the complete, correct.
This is you're showing me the high end first.
I mean, high end has the most solutions geared towards your business, and this is the one this is my main bundle for you. Uh-huh. But understanding your cash flow, I mean, and the Portobello restaurant as a whole, I put together 2 other solutions for you as well. Okay. So, I mean, is this still of interest to you, or?
Well, I'd like to see what some of the other things cost. I mean, again, money I take away from this means I got to buy a cheaper tomato sauce or what have you, and then suddenly my food isn't as good, and suddenly now people are coming here, and then I'm not expanding. So
exactly. And what I'd like to tell you, too, is a lot of the things that we were talking about before, freeing up Patty's time, 3 hours of her time per week, that equals about 144 hours a year. I'm not sure if Patty gets paid hourly or salary. That's a lot of money that you're saving there. If she is being paid salary, she has that time to free up for other areas of your business, which could also improve profits. The errors, we talked about overpaying your employees, the ramifications with that, but also underpaying your employees. So what the effects are of something like that if your cook walks out on a Friday night before the hot time comes. Then your HR sifting through resumes. I mean, we're cutting down, and we're really cutting down your operations where you're only going to be doing what you need to proceed in your operations. So we're kind of cutting off that unnecessary time and money.
Okay, well, what are some of the other options?
Okay, well, our essential costs are right here. Again, it's $200 for the setup, but this brings it down to $30. And then the $150 per check is going to be around $480. Now, this is about half the price, but again, you're going to be losing a few of the services that we felt beneficial before. And if you don't mind, I'd like to go back to the complete solution, just because I really want to tell you a little bit more about that pricing and how it can be beneficial for your company. So one thing that we did talk about is the tax and compliance. Right now, you said that with paychecks, there's been an instance before, at the end of the year, you having to come up with a large sum of money to pay those taxes because your reports weren't accurate. Now, that wasn't only, not only was that effect on your cash flow, but also you running around trying to get this extra money in a slower month than usual. And the insurance that we were talking about, the unemployment, and if anything were to happen, workman's compensation. I mean, there's a lot of value in that price for the complete solution. Does that kind of help you a little bit out with the price?
Well, I mean, it's moving there. And what's the middle one look like?
Middle one is enhanced. That's going to be $200 for setup. It equals about $640. You are losing about a little bit on the HR services, but the $640 is very well spent for different services that we felt beneficial in our last meeting. Now, if you don't mind, what I'd like to do is move forward with this and set up a time about 2 to 3 weeks where we can implement this and get going so you can stop your profit leakage and start going to where you want to be.
Well, I think probably the enhanced version probably is what makes the most sense for me from a cost perspective. It allows me to, keep a little money, and I don't even know if I need all the HR pieces from the complete service.